Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi. And today I have one of my most favorite guests on this show, and it's Alex from Super Self Me. And he is a confidence coach, and he is an amazing confidence coach, to say the least. And he's here today. And I just want to mention that he is part of our podcast community. He has his own show on our channel, and you have to check out his episodes because they're just so amazing. I love his episodes. He tackles some really interesting topics and even affirmations he talks about and the power of affirmation. So check out his episodes. You're going to love them. And today he's going to talk about something else that we all really, struggle with at times and we're all trying to work on is resilience. And that is a topic that I love to talk about. And I'm so glad you're talking about it today. Alex, tell everybody a little about yourself for people who don't know you, maybe, and just give them a little brief introduction about you.
Sure. My name is Alex Hristov. Excuse me. I'm a confidence coach in Atlanta, Georgia. I offer a holistic three-pronged program, which has to do with mental health, physical health, and practical problem solving. Basically, dealing with any challenge that a person may or may not have currently. So, yeah, that's what I do. And it's good to be back on your show. This is, what is this, our fourth or fifth episode together? I'm not sure, something like
Something
that.
like that. Yeah.
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 And actually, speaking of which, since I've spent a bunch of time with you and really enjoyed being a guest on your podcasts, I wanted to do something specifically for your listeners, which is I'm looking for two people to provide free coaching for. Basically, it's 4 sessions, 4 weekly sessions. And I'm looking for two people that I am a good match for and who are a good match for me. Um, when I say a good match, I'm not sure if people out there kind of understand what that means. For example, I'm not a business coach. I'm not a spiritual coach. I don't deal with substance abuse. Um, but other than that, the under the general life coach umbrella, um, yeah, if anybody is looking for help, uh, go to my website, superself.me. Go on the consultation. It's the link says book now. Go on there, throw something on my calendar, and let's chat. So yeah, just for your listeners, I'm not doing this for anyone else.
I love it. I love it. And everybody take advantage of that because I'm telling you, Alex is an amazing coach. You're going to love his sessions. You'll get so much out of it. So definitely I would plop right now on there and I would definitely make a scheduled date because you will love his coaching techniques. They're fabulous. Now, you want to talk about resilience today, and there's a wide
Resilience.
range, yeah, of things that you talk about. So, what did you have in mind when you think of resilience? What is coming to your mind?
Well, this actually, as you know, I've told you this. I'm not sure that I've told any of the listeners, but excuse me. When Stacey and I schedule a podcast, um, basically she asked me what I want to talk about, and I'll write down something. And then by the time the podcast actually comes up and it's time to record, I completely throw that away and talk about whatever is currently on my mind. Um, so today, I want to talk about resilience. Specifically, recently, I've had a lot of people ask me questions um, that kind of go like this. How do you drag yourself out of bed during very difficult times?
Mm.
Um, and there are three things to do. So I'm going to go back in time a little bit and tell you a little bit about how I figured these things out. Um, for those that have listened to previous podcasts, I've made mentions of um, I ended up in my adulthood, in my 40s, spending 5 years in bed. I had an undiagnosed health situation. I'd gone to doctors for years and years and years. Everything coming back normal. It wasn't. I ended up having to diagnose myself. blah, 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 blah. The point is that during those years in bed, and they were really horrible years because the reason I was in bed was I was extremely lightheaded and I had a lot of vertigo. So simply being vertical was very, very problematic. I was also experiencing tremendous pain all the time. So it was a pretty hellish existence. And for the first 3 years of it, there was no hope. There was nothing I could see on the horizon of how I could get out of that situation. In the third year is when um, I've been researching naturally everything, and kind of like in the third year, I stumbled on something that ended up being the problem. So I diagnosed myself, and then it took 2 more years to finally get out of bed. So during all that time, um, you know, I had to figure out a way to keep moving forward, right? To wake up every day and to actually try to exist. And there are three methods that I use. The first is I so just so everybody knows, before the podcast, I asked Stacey if I could use this word. This word is actually very important. I'm generally a very positive person. However, in extreme circumstances, you have to use whatever tools are available to you.
Mm-hmm.
And at that period in my life, it was very easy to say, life sucks, life is hard, life is this, life is that. That's actually incorrect. Life is fantastic. What sucks is our circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of got this thought in my head that my circumstances are assholes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't make any mistakes that led to my situation. None of this was by choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's what the circumstances were.
Right.
They were assholes. And so, in thinking about how do I deal with this impossible situation, the first thing I came up with, was, my circumstances are assholes. So I'm actually going to be a bigger asshole. Like that's literally what it came down to,
Yeah.
right? It was like every day is trying to kill me. And I'm going to be a bigger asshole and not die.
Right.
I'm going to wake up. There were many, many days where I couldn't stand. So, for example, to go to the bathroom, I would scoot on my butt. I couldn't stand to pee in the toilet. I would kneel in front of the bathtub and pee in the tub, right? But I would do it. And I was living in my parents' house. I would scoot on my butt to the stairs and on my butt down the stairs and on my butt scoot to the kitchen and I would eat. And I would open the back door and I would sit out in the backyard, however much I could. And then I do the same thing in reverse and get in bed once I physically couldn't be, vertical anymore because the lightheadedness was extreme. I'd actually passed out a bunch of times, ended up in the emergency room. They told me nothing's wrong, blah, 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 blah. The vertigo was extreme. So, the idea was, okay, life, you want to screw me? Well, I'm a bigger asshole than you. These circumstances that I find myself in,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to be worse than me. I will be worse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going down without a fight. The second thing that really helped me, there was a show, well, still is, I guess, on Amazon Prime. It's called, what the heck was it? All or Nothing. Basically, they embed a film crew with a random sports team for the season and follow them along, right? And they do it for the NFL, NBA, NHL, whatever, all kinds of teams. And on the surface, that show is basically like a soap opera for guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I was more interested in what is the common thread between the teams that do well and those that don't.
Right.
And something that really struck me is the teams that do well, when they lose, they come back to the locker room and they're all pissed off. They're pissed off, they're throwing stuff, they're yelling at each other. The teams who in general don't do well, when they lose, they come back to the locker room and they're quiet and their heads are down.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you have to keep fighting, and that fight has to come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to come from putting your head down and being silent, right?
Right.
It There has to be an urgency. There has to actually be an anger, right? I am not okay with these circumstances.
Right.
I am not okay. And that mentality, I started thinking about, well, how exactly can I adopt that?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it came to kind of like a very simple thing. It was like, okay, I am basically a cornered dog, and I have two choices. I can whimper, or I can bare my teeth and growl.
Mm-hmm.
I can be the angry dog.
Right.
And I started repeating that to myself. I am the angry dog.
Right.
I am the asshole who will not lay down. I started repeating that to myself every single day,
Yes.
every single day, until it became, in essence, my mantra.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the asshole. I'm the angry dog. And the last part of how you stay resilient during great difficulty is look for stories of personal triumph,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you do need some inspiration. You do need to see people struggle and overcome,
Yes.
right? You need to see that others have been through either something that you're going through or something similar or whatever, right?
Yes.
You need to see that there is a way out if you just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So I would find movies, TV shows, documentaries to watch. Again, personal triumphs. I would read books, articles. I would just bombard myself with those.
Right.
And so those two things, the seeing others make it through very difficult times, and also adopting this attitude of I am the angry dog.
Yeah.
My circumstances are extremely difficult, but I'm going to be even more difficult and not lay down in front of him. So kind of like the inspiration and the bad attitude,
Mm-hmm.
um, you end up with this mentality that I am going forward and nothing's stopping me.
Right.
I just don't care. Nothing is going to stop me.
Right.
Period. The payoff, whatever that may not be tomorrow. It may not be in a month. It may not be in a year,
Right.
but it's going to come because I'm not going to lay down.
Right.
Um, and for all intents and purposes, that's how you become resilient.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, if the current, I don't want to get political, but let's call it, if the current situation in the world is something that's difficult for you,
Mm-hmm.
instead of laying down, live life to spite the circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
to spite those who are causing those circumstances, right?
Right.
Work on yourself, work on the various little things in life that you actually have some control over.
Right.
Enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
Get as much of it, get as much out of it as you can, right?
Yes.
Do it to spite everything.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I know that coming from a coach, this all sounds kind of dark. And as I said in the beginning, I'm a very positive person. However, again, in extreme circumstances, you got to use whatever tools are available.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever gets you motivated, whatever gets you, create some urgency,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, so the fact that you're not happy with the way things are, use that. use that to get up every day.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's my version of resilience. I know that it may not be the right thing for some people out there, but for others, it's going to be exactly what they need.
Right. No, I agree.
So
If you
that's it.
if you had to take today's conversation about resilience and you had to really want to really emphasize on some important factors, what are some of the things that you'd like to emphasize when people are trying to become resilient and they're trying to gain that inner strength?
It's really just be the bigger asshole. No, I will not lay down. I
Hmm.
will not go down without a fight.
Hmm.
I'm swinging all the way down. If I'm going out, I'm not going out quietly.
Right.
That's that. That's really what it comes down to. I am not going away quietly.
Yes.
Come what may, right? We have one life. And when our last day comes, I think we all want to know that we did something with that life. We didn't waste it,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm. 100%.
So even if, for example, in my situation, if I hadn't been able to diagnose myself, and if it had been something more serious than what it ended up being, and it ended up taking my life, then this attitude wouldn't have actually helped me, right? I wouldn't have recovered. I wouldn't have started a new life, blah, blah, blah. However, in my dying days, I would know that I went out swinging. I did
Yeah.
not give up,
Hmm.
right? Meaning, as miserable as the end of my life would have been, I lived it right.
Yes.
And that's what matters. If if I if I ended up in a situation where again my health issue was more serious than what it actually was, and it cost
Hmm.
me my life, hey, what do you do? But I fought all the way. So
Right.
I'm happy with myself. I'm not happy with the way my life went, but I'm happy with myself.
Yes.
And so yeah, just be the bigger asshole.
I love it. I love it.
That's that.
Now, what services do you provide?
I provide a program, which is the overarching goal, is to build a person's confidence.
Hmm.
But there are a lot of other things that kind of fall into that umbrella.
Hmm.
Um, is again, as I mentioned in the beginning, we do a lot of physical exercises. We do mental exercises. The physical exercises are a non-negotiable part of the program.
Hmm.
The body, the brain creates a lot of wonderful chemicals that make us feel good, that give
Yeah.
us motivation, that help us overcome fatigue. There's a million good reasons that we've all heard of, so I'm not going to bother you with them, right?
Right.
The mental aspect is cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing is basically rewiring your own brain. I'll give you a simple example, which is going from I'm not good enough to I am good enough,
Right.
right? I got this. Whatever is coming, I got it. That's what cognitive reframing is. And the last part is just very practical problem solving.
Hmm.
So, um, whatever a person's current challenges are,
Right.
we're going to look at those. We're going to remove the complexity out of them, simplify them, create a roadmap,
Hmm.
create very specific tasks to get to the end of that goal, to achieve whatever that may be.
Right.
And that may be what should I call it? A real world thing, like,
Hmm.
how do I change professions or whatever, or it may be a purely psychological thing, which is, um, I am struggling with this and that, and I want to change that about myself. I want to go forward being, a happy, confident person, and how do we do that? So
Right.
yeah,
I love
and
it.
that's what the program looks like. It's 10 weeks, for some people, they're at the end of the 10 weeks, they're like, cool, got it. I have the tools. I'm off on my own. Other people prefer to go longer. Um, everything is individualized within reason.
Right.
But those three main vectors of physical health, mental health, and practical problem solving, they apply across the program for everyone.
I love it. Now, where can people find you?
Just go to my website, superself.me. My contact info is there. You can schedule a consultation. You can go on the contact page if you want my phone number or email or whatever. You can find me on LinkedIn, Alex Hristov Coaching. I am now on the various socials. Um, Again, just look for Alex Hristov Coaching. I don't have a lot of content on the socials yet, but that's all in the works.
Good.
So yeah,
That's awesome. Well, this has been amazing. I really enjoyed this. I love how your approach to your to resilience, and you are really your techniques are very unique, and I like them, and they're very effective as well. So
thank you.
I really appreciate you, and I appreciate everything that you do, and I appreciate your different tools and strategies that you use because you're helping a lot of people, and a lot of the things that we've talked about, today and other days, are things people struggle with on a daily basis.
Yep.
These are things that people need to overcome in order to move forward
Yes.
and live a happy, healthy, productive life. And,
Hmm.
you had a lot of challenges yourself and you overcame them. And, that took resilience. So you are
Yep.
a true, you are a true mentor, for millions out there that who really want to be able to get that resilience and be able to be confident in who they are and to move forward in life. You're living proof of that. So thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. You have a great day.
You too.